Welcome everyone. Appreciate you joining our seminar. I can tell you that for years as an alderman, I've been encouraging people to understand a little bit more about the emergency response function in the city that they live in, and encouraging people to call 911 for a variety of issues that may be less than a severe emergency where your house is on fire or someone's severely injured. And I always get the same response from people. I don't want to call 911. I don't want to bother them. My emergency isn't as extreme, as other things. People have the impression that it needs to be something extreme before you can call 911. And we've told people over the years that's not, in fact, the case. The 911 center is set up to receive a variety of citizen calls, all the way from the most minor incidents you can imagine, like maybe a car illegally parked, up until those, extreme incidents where there's been, a major fire or severe injuries or death, and the whole range of possibilities within there. That's what the 911 OEMC Center is for. And we try to take some of the mystery and the intimidation away from that. But that brings us to today's seminar. It's more than just a willingness to call, but it's an understanding of how the system works. And when you have a better understanding, you can be a more effective citizen. We rely on the eyes and the ears of our neighborhood residents to tell us what's going on out there. We all talk about first responders. Citizens are often the first reporters. We find out about an emergent situation from people calling 911. So by virtue of the fact that you're participating in this webinar, you're willing to understand a little bit more about how that functions. And you will be, unofficially at least, joining our team as a result of calls like this. And if you want to take it a step further, Rich is going to talk about the CERT program, where civilians can receive additional training in emergency response, so that if we do have a situation like, for example, we had last year with the major tornado that struck the Woodridge area. Citizens were involved in that response. Citizens participated in the initial emergency response to help first responders to identify the locations that needed the immediate assistance, to help the injured find medical treatment. There's a variety of ways that you can participate once you're trained in the event that the unthinkable happens to you. So consider that. The training will be offered in June. Rich will get into the details a little bit more of that, but if you have the time and the willingness to raise your hand and be part of the solution, your assistance in partnership with the trained first responders can actually make the difference of life or death in a given situation. So thank you for your willingness to participate. And with that, I will turn it over to Rich. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Alderman, for this opportunity. And thanks to Veronica and Beverly and Chris for inviting me this evening to talk about the Chicago CERT program. And I was trying to get my presentation up, and it's saying the screen sharing is not enabled. So
Lisa, if you're still on the call, can you enable screen sharing for Rich?
Yeah. And what I'll talk about is the Chicago CERT program while she's doing that, and what we are. We're a volunteer group sponsored by OEMC, the Office of Emergency Management Communication. The program's been around for quite a while, since about 2004 here in Chicago. Chris Shank is a huge driving force. He was one of the original instigators or stakeholders in the program, with his experience going out to 9/11 and such. So I'm just going to get this going here.
There you go. We can see it.
Yeah. I've been involved with the Chicago CERT program for about 17 years. I've crossed paths with Beverly quite a bit at various community groups like this, and we talk about the CERT program and the Smart 911 program and other programs through OEMC. We talk about disasters. Alderman Hopkins mentioned, we all remember back a few years back when we had a little bit of snow on Lakeshore Drive and throughout the city. We've had a few blizzards here in Chicago. On a daily basis, there's 2 to 3 home fires, strictly home fires in the city of Chicago that people are devastated by. Severe weather. This evening, you look out your window, we've got some nasty weather coming through. Flooding. A little bit of a trivia question for you. The #1 disaster in Illinois is flooding. It's a severe issue. If we remember back in the mid-90s when we had the heat wave, when we had close to 700 people die because of the heat wave, that was pretty devastating. And then there's always, the threat of acts of terror. In 95% cases of emergencies, bystanders, us citizens, are there first on scene because it happened in front of us. And we're the first ones to help provide assistance and to provide some of those rescues. Some of the statistics out there is like something like 80% of the people are rescued by citizens prior to actual first responders coming out and helping. So we are a big impact on these things. We talk about first responders, and in this slide, I've got some statistics on how many people there are. The numbers are a little old, but it gives you an idea. And the takeaway here is there isn't a whole lot of those first responders compared to us as citizens, who are just going through our daily lives. So we're there first. We see things happen. We're the ones who call the first responders, and we start initializing that first rescue efforts and helping. Our mission with the Chicago CERT team is to develop a core trained of volunteers to serve as emergency management resources that provide support for first responders during an emergency. We're not necessarily trained to go in and be those rescuers and such, but we're there to support the Chicago Fire Department, Chicago Police Department, the Office of Emergency Management and Communication. We also educate Chicagoans to better prepare themselves and families in the time of disasters until first responders arrive. We have a program that we go out to the community, and we'd love to do this for you guys. And we have what's called the Gear Up, Get Ready program, where we talk about preparedness for disasters. We talk about putting together a disaster kit. We talk about putting together a family plan. And we talk about getting accurate information. And we talk about what we drag in Beverly to talk about the Smart 911 program. And then we're always engaging the public to improve the city's preparedness, so that when we have disasters, citizens are prepared, less stressed by disasters, and better able to respond to disasters and recover from them. This program, the CERT program, actually started out in LA back in 1985. They recognized that in times of disasters that they have out there, it's unlikely that first responders will be there right away. Some people will be kind of on their own for a while, as the definition of a disaster is your resources are overwhelmed. So if we give some simple training to the citizens, it can make a big impact, not only save themselves, their families, and their community. Frank Borden, the gentleman here in the middle, he came up with the idea back then in 1985 and some of the research he did is he went over to Japan and looked at how they respond to disasters, how they have a trained train their citizens to respond to disasters. Also going down to Mexico during the Mexico City earthquake in 95 or 85, where they had 700 people perish, and they had 100 people perish trying to rescue people. And that loss of life is pretty devastating. So he came up with this idea of having a citizen emergency response team where people, again, have this basic training and are no longer a liability, but as an asset for first responders in the community. FEMA said, hey, this is a great idea. They gave the LA Fire Department a big award for a preparedness program award back in 1994, and they expanded the idea to an all hazards, meaning that not only earthquakes and wildfires, as California did their training about, but talking about tornadoes and floods and hurricanes and such. And then in Chicago in 2004, in the summer of 2004, we graduated our first class. To date, we've trained over 3,000 citizens. We have about well over 200 people on our mailing list who are participating in the program. Here's a little snapshot from years ago of some of those fine folks. The alphabet soup, it's a FEMA program. It's a federally recognized program. These programs, the CERT programs, are throughout the country and actually throughout the world. In Illinois, we have about 68 recognized CERT programs here in Chicago, throughout the metropolitan area and throughout the state. Nationally, there's, I think, around 2,800 programs, and that goes coast to coast. Every single state has at least one CERT program in their area. We have a great partnership with Chicago Fire Department, Chicago Police Department, and also other organizations like the Red Cross. We have a partnership with Northwestern Hospital that helps support us in what we do. What we offer is a 30-hour training class. It's offered roughly 2 to 4 times a year. We're just getting back into it, because of this little COVID thing that we've gone through the past couple of years. Our first class, as Alderman Hopkins mentioned, is going to be starting in June, or actually very end of May. It's going to be squeezed in between Memorial Day and the 4th of July in June. Then we're going to hopefully definitely try and shoot for another class in the fall. The training is no cost to you. It's open to the general public. And as long as you basically like the city of Chicago, we'll gladly welcome you in class and teach you about it. And the topics we cover, we talk about disaster preparedness. We spend a couple nights talking about that. We talk about fire safety. We train you how to use a fire extinguisher. We train you to recognize hazards involved with that. We also talk about some hazardous materials situations. We teach you light search and rescue. So we teach you how to search a building in the event of a disaster, and also we talk about outdoor searches. We talk about disaster psychology, how individuals react to disasters, and also how the team, our fellow team members, react and how we can support them so they're not affected negatively by disasters. We have a section on terrorism response, terrorism awareness. We spent a couple days talking about disaster medical operations where we teach you some life-saving skills. And then also CERT organization, where how we fit into the big picture, because we are a small cog in a big picture, or a big response. We work closely with the fire department, police department, and OEMC, Office of Emergency Management and Communication, in times of disaster, and how we fit into all of that. We talk about volunteering. We going through the class, going through the orientation, and we also do a background check for anybody who's in the program, because we want to make sure that we have people who are appropriate for the community, who will work out well. Some of the things we do, when we don't have these disasters, thankfully we don't have too many of them in our area. We do a lot of special events. Basically any program that's out there that has more than 10,000 people attending, oftentimes we have a seat at the table and we're assisting either Chicago Fire Department or OEMC in some of the operations. For example, the Chicago Marathon, we have a big role in that. We work with the Red Cross installing smoke detectors throughout the city. Various parades, air and water show. We've done some safety patrols in the past. As a matter of fact, in your ward, we're pretty active. Some of the disasters we've responded to, some of the flooding that we've had on the north side up in the Albany Park area where the Chicago River was overflowing. We've responded to those disasters. The circus tents up here was the United Center, the vaccination center during COVID. We were there the entire operation of that, which was about a month and a half, or 3 months actually. And then also down here in the bottom right, we were part of the staff of the COVID hotline. So if you call the COVID hotline for questions about, either getting tested or vaccine or general questions, it may have been one of our volunteers answering those questions for you. We also participate in drills and exercises to help the fire department, police department, OEMC prepare for these disasters. Here's a picture of April, who this is all makeup on her. That was an exercise we participated when they evacuated the Blue Cross Blue Shield building one Friday afternoon. It was a large scale exercise where the fire department was practicing their skills in the event of a major disaster. They had their paramedics staged around the building, and they were looking for people who were injured. We had a group of our volunteers made up, much like April here, with makeup, who were injected into the crowds that were coming out of the building to act as injured survivors. And then the paramedics would recognize or identify them and then do their thing. They would treat them and act accordingly. It was kind of funny, before the drill exercise started, we were staged over by Millennium Park, and we had about 20 of us that were made up for, we had bones sticking out of us. April's got a chunk of glass in her head. And I will say the look of people walking by was pretty entertaining. you know, they'd walk by and stop and kind of like freak out a little bit, like, oh my God, and, you know, there's April waving to them, smiling and stuff. So it was kind of interesting. We also do community outreach, as I talked about, the Gear Up, Get Ready program. We'd love to come out to your community, talk about being prepared, preparing yourself for disasters. We also have a tremendous amount of continuing education. Some of our volunteers have literally thousands of hours of training under their belt, going through our program and some of the other things that we do. We train on a monthly basis, you know, and it builds upon your basic skills that you'll learn in the 40-hour class. We look for your commitment to the program. We ask you to be prepared for disasters. We want you to look after yourself and your family and also your neighbors in an emergency. Once you have all that figured out and solved, we would love to have you volunteer and make a big impact for the city to help the first responders. With that, that's my presentation there. If anybody's, we're doing questions now, or we're going to do the questions later on?
I think there was a question for you here, Rich, that said, is there an age limit?
We will train anybody basically 14 years and up. To join the team, you need to be over the 18 years of 18. You need to be an adult. But we've actually had some younger students in our class that where people had some childcare issues, and we included them in the class. And of course, you know, kids are not always that eager to go to a CERT class, so to speak. But, you know, they came in open-minded, and they actually participated, and they did a fantastic job. And it was really exciting to have the youth involved. We're also working in a program with the CAPTA program, the Chicago Police Fire Training Academy. In the past, we've trained those high school kids through our program, and we're looking to partnership with them again very soon.
Okay, thank you for that. Do you ever go to speak at condominium associations, or?
I will take my little circus anywhere you want. We would love to go out and talk to the public and talk about disasters. And some of the condominiums, especially larger buildings that are downtown, they have some special you know, situations living in a high rise and disasters, and how, you know, elevators may or may not work, plumbing may or may not work in a disaster. Hopefully folks understand their safety plan of the building. So absolutely, we'd love to come out and do anything. You can reach out either to Veronica or through Chris, and we can set something up.
And if Rich is not available, or any of the CERT volunteers aren't available, I'm more than happy to come out and do the CERT intro. It's kind of, thank you for showing up, Rich, tonight. Basically, I was seeing what he was doing tonight. I was like, hey, Rich, what are you doing tonight? And basically, he was available. So we're very, you know, blessed to have Rich part of the program, and Veronica. So, you know, only good things moving forward, and we're truly blessed to have such a program. So.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for your time. Thanks for giving us this opportunity. And again, if you're interested in the program, you can reach out through OAMC. We have a website through OAMC. Just Google Chicago CERT. It'll get you there. You can start signing up for classes. We have plenty of availability. We're targeting the Chicago Police Academy as our area for we'll be doing our class, which is on the near west side. So it's not too far from your ward office area. So we'd love to see you in June. We have a lot of fun, and you get to learn a lot of interesting things. And at the end, you get a lot of great opportunities to volunteer in disasters and in preparedness, and get to work with Beverly here, going out to the community, talking about this stuff. So love to see you guys. Thank you for the opportunity. You guys all have a great evening. Be safe, and pay attention to that weather out there.
Thank you, Rich.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rich.
Thanks, Rich. See you soon.
So now, Beverly, we're going to hop over to you and OEMC.
Yes, we can. We can completely
Thank
hop
you.
over. My name is Beverly Carrington. I'm here with Andrew Johnson. Andrew, say hi.
Hello.
That's what you're gonna get. That's it. That's it. Right. I am a police dispatcher over at OEMC. I'm currently in the training department with Andrew Johnson. I've been there for, this is my 21st year at the OEMC, and I've been in the training department for the past 6 years. And I'm just gonna give you all some information on 911 and 311. And Andrew is here to give you all some information on Smart 911. So I'm gonna go ahead and start my PowerPoint. Let's see. Okay, hold on. Okay, here we go. Right, so just kind of giving you all information to make sure you understand how it works at the OEMC, how it works when you're calling 911, some of the information that we're looking for, and the differences between calling 911 and 311. Again, my name is Beverly Carrington. I am here with Andrew Johnson. We are part of the Training and Education Division over at OEMC. Both of us are Police Communications Operator 2. That's our official title. And what we want to start with is letting you all know about how many calls for service come into the 911 center. We get about 4.5 million calls a year. 311 gets about 3.5. And any number of things can influence the calls that are coming into the center. So it could be the time of year, right? If it's summertime or if it's wintertime, if there's a major storm that's happened, that will influence the type of calls that we're getting. It could be because it's a holiday, right? Some of our busiest days will include New Year's Eve, 4th of July, Halloween. We get a severe uptick of calls that are coming in during those times of the year. But this is what I really want to make sure I get to with everyone, is making sure that you all understand the questions that we're asking, why we're asking those questions, and what those questions might be. The first one that I want to make sure that people truly understand is the most important W of the 5 W's is going to be where. I need your location. And what I mean by location, I'm talking about a good address in the city of Chicago or 2 cross streets. And we need that information because that can be the difference between 2 different beats or 2 different districts, or Chicago and a suburban agency, depending on where you are. And if you're very far southeast, it could be the difference between Chicago and Indiana. So we really want to know where you are. And this is the thing. I've had people tell me, well, I've called 911. Well, when I go on Google and I press current location on Google, Google will always tell me what my location is. So how come you can't tell me what my location is when I'm calling on a cell phone? And this is the thing. Technology is great. And Google has great technology, but Chicago uses a slightly different technological system in order to get your cell phone's location. We have towers that we ping off of, and that's how we get your cell phone location. The technology, again, has gotten much better since I started, because when I started, we got no information at all on cell phones. But now we can get pretty close to your location because we have the use of rapid SOS. And so we did a test on this just so that people can kind of understand how we can triangulate to you. Back in 2017, we did a test with the cell phones. I called 911 from the lobby of the 911 building on Madison and Loomis, the lobby of the building. The cell phone tower pinged me at Ashland and Lake. And then it got closest to me when we did our retransmit was to Madison and Ashland. Now in 2019, they upgraded the technology again, and we did the test again. I called from a lot just east of the OEMC, and it pinged me right close, about a corner. I was in the lot, but it pinged me right on the corner of the lot. So it has gotten a lot better. I've seen it in action, but what we want you to let us know is that address. If you don't know the address and you're inside of a location, look for a piece of mail. The mail will have the address on it. If it's happening inside or outside, is this happening in a condo or an apartment building? What is that unit number? Is there a bell code the police need to get inside of the building? Is the gate to the location locked? If that gate is locked, will someone be there to open up that gate? Is this happening in a gangway or in the alley? Again, this is really good information that goes into the where for the 5 W's. The next one's going to be what. right? So what prompted you to call 911? What do you see happening right now? What do you hear happening right now? Is it loud music that you hear? Do you see someone breaking into a car? Do you see someone looking into the cars on the street? Do you see a permit parking violation? What prompted you to call 911? We also want to know who. And who can be, whether it's you, because you're the victim, or whether you're calling on behalf of somebody else, or if you're just a third party reporter, right? You're just reporting what it is you see, because we can't stress it enough that if you see something, we absolutely need you to say something, right? They're allocating their resources and determining how they're going to allocate those resources based on those number of calls for service. So if there's a severe uptick for a particular area for calls for service, they're going to take note of that. So if you see something, we want you to say something. I've had people say from time to time, well, I don't really want to say anything because I don't want to get involved. And this is the thing, you can be anonymous. As long as you're not the victim, you can be anonymous. Our call taker still may ask you for your name or number, but if you let them know that you wish to be anonymous, the call taker doesn't see your name or number once they've made you anonymous. The dispatcher, when it comes to me, won't see your name or number. The police officers don't see your name or number. The only person who can get that information is a sergeant or higher, and they will only be given that information over the phone or through a message. So it doesn't go out over the radio. But just saying, I don't want to leave my name and number, let us know that you want to be anonymous. You can absolutely say it. The only calls for service in which we're going to ask about anonymity will probably be gang or narcotic related calls per our policy. Those are the ones that we're required to ask about it. Sometimes call takers do ask people about anonymity, but if you wish to be anonymous and you're just reporting something, let us know. The next W is going to be when. So when did it happen? Is it happening right now? Did it happen 5 minutes ago? Did you just wake up and discover that your car was broken into and you just need a police report? Because we're going to talk about it in a little bit, but we have another section that we can go to, which is the alternate response section, to make that police report. And weapons. Weapons is not just going to be guns or knives. Weapons is anything that can cause physical damage or bodily harm, right? And again, we want that information because we want to keep the officers safe, in turn, keeping the community safe. So that additional information might be physical descriptions. So we want to know if they are, if they have long hair or the short hair, if they're light complected or dark complected, if it's a man or a woman, clothing description, right? If they're wearing a black jacket and black jogging pants. But this is the thing that comes with clothing description. This is what I kind of odd. So a person can have on a black jacket and gray jogging pants, but underneath they'll have on a white t-shirt and yellow shorts, right? And it's happened. I've been on the zone where it happened, where they say, hey, we see clothes on the ground because they took off their clothes and their entire outfit just changed. The one thing that's probably not going to change will be their shoes. Most people do not carry an extra set of shoes with them, so they're not going to change the shoes. And nowadays, shoes are super bright. I know all of my shoes are bright. The only dark ones I have are the ones that I have to wear with my uniform. Those are the black ones. But the rest of my shoes are super bright colors. If you see the shoes, let us know. More additional information might be a vehicle description. And with vehicle descriptions, I get it. Everybody doesn't know makes and models of cars. I have a 3-year-old and an 8-year-old, and we love muscle cars. So we talk about cars all day long. He'll send me text messages about cars. But you may not have to discuss makes and models with vehicles with little people. So you can let us know, though, if it was a yellow car or red car, if it had 4 doors or 2 doors, if it was a pickup truck, or if it was a full-size SUV. You can let us know that information. It had rear end damage or front end damage. It had tinted windows, plate information. If you see a plate, please tell me what that plate number is and the state that the plate belongs to. Even if you don't know the state, maybe you could just let me know it's not an Illinois plate. That, again, is really good information to know, and you're giving it to the call taker before even the officers arrive. So, okay. I don't know where that is, but let's go to the next one. So,
Beverly, I'm sorry. We do have one question though, regarding location. The question was that some places don't have addresses or cross streets. For instance, if you're in the middle of a park or down by the Riverwalk.
That's okay. Right. Okay. This is that part of the city. Yeah. So there are things that you have available to you if you're in the park. If you're in the park, you can tell me the park name. Or if you're in a school, you can tell me this name of the school, because we can still register your information based off of that location name. For the parks, depending on where you are in the city, and I know it's a long Lakeshore Drive from the north end to the south end, but for the parks, it's only in certain areas along the lakefront. They're the permanent pole markings. So if you're ever on a part of the lake where you can look up and see a green sign with letters and numbers on it, those are permanent pole markings. You can give me that letter number combination and I'll know exactly where you are.
Thank you.
Yeah, and sometimes in some parks, I know that there are some roads that run through certain parks, but if you know the name of the park or the part of the park that you're closest to, so I'm in Skinner Park, close to the baseball field, right on the west side of Skinner Park, that kind of gives us an idea of where we should be going. So yeah, sometimes we can get other locations beyond that. I like it. Okay, once we have a description of that call, the call taker will then categorize that event, that call for service with an event type. And this event type is something that CPD has priorities assigned to the event types. So that's why we're asking you those questions, because we have to make it a particular event type. And then there's certain priorities that go along with those event types. It's a 3 priority system that we use. Priority 1s will indicate imminent threat to life. So that would be a person shot. It could be a person with a gun. It could be a battery in progress. Those are priority 1s. A priority 2 would mean that the immediate threat has dissipated, but the offender is still nearby or on the scene, right? So that could be the burglary just occurred or the alarm that's sounding within the household. The priority 3 could be that there's no longer imminent threat to life. No one is, there's no offender on scene at this moment. Nobody is injured. There's not major property damage or loss. So this could be something like the burglary report, right? It's just a report. It also falls within our nuisance complaints. So that could be loud music disturbance or barking dog disturbance. Those are our priority 3s. And the thing is when you're calling here in Chicago, we have an automated system that answers the calls as they come into the system. But here in Chicago, just to make sure that everyone understands, we have police call takers, police dispatchers, fire call takers, and fire dispatchers. When you call in, if you're calling it from a landline, we will automatically see that information from your phone that's provided by your phone company. If you're calling in from the cell phone, again, we use the cell phone technology to ping off of your location. And again, this is just to make sure that people understand, if you're needing to speak to the police, then you can't be anonymous, because we need to know who you are. I need to be able to tell the police who they're speaking to. If you're just reporting it though, you absolutely can be anonymous. So one of the other questions that I get quite frequently is, when should I call 911 versus when I should call 311? And the way that I like for people to understand it, the easiest way before we go through this list is, if you need the police to come rectify a situation, even if it's not emergent, but you need the police to rectify the situation, 911. Or if you need an ambulance, or if you need the fire department, 911. If you need the city to come deal with something, that's going to be 311. So that could be the potholes or the street lights. It could be getting information about city services or areas in the city, or to find out about your local CABS meetings. So you can get that kind of information from 311. But this is the thing, you don't just have to call them, right? What you can do is you can put the app on your phone, which is CHI 311, CHI 311. And when you download this app on your phone, you can, the most of the city service requests that you can make over the phone, you can make on the app. If you can't, it lets you know, and you may have to still call depending on what it is. But most of the city service requests that people are calling about, they can make those same city service requests over on the app or online at 311.chicago.gov. And then you could create that city service request. Some of the things that you could create the city service request for would include that abandoned vehicle or building violations. It could be for fly dumping, for garbage pickup because the garbage wasn't picked up, and for like an open hydrant. So if you see an open hydrant, this isn't something that's handled by the fire department anymore. It's handled by 311, and they'll send out the water department to take care of it. Because we still do. We still get people that'll call 911 because there was a time that the fire department used to go out for open hydrants, but that's now a 311 thing. This is the app and this is what it looks like. And one other thing that I wanted to make sure, because I think it's about to go into the Smart 911. When you're online, this is what 311 looks like. This is what the website looks like to go ahead and make your city service request or to explore. And when you're on the app, if you put your current location in, you can actually see if there are other city service requests that have already been made in your area. You can see the update that the city has made on your city service request. You can see their estimated time of completion. If they have completed the city service request and you need a continued follow-up for it, you can see when they stated that it was complete. You can upload pictures of your city service request, like for potholes, for instance. Not all potholes are created equal. We think that they're all the same, but they're not, because some are sinkholes, which will be handled by the Department of Water versus the Department of Transportation. And you can upload a picture. I did one because there was after the winter time, it had snowed really bad, and in my gangway there was a dead animal that had went underneath one of the like dryer vents from my neighbor's house. So I had to take a picture so they could see which gangway it was, just so that they know where to go when they respond. You don't have to create a profile to make your city service request if you're making it on the app. You can still check for any updates on it as long as you look up the actual city service request number, or you can just look at it for the ones that are pending within the area. Again, this is what the website looks like. These are some of the different categories that you can do research on. Things about animals, about seniors. They have lots of information that the city might offer that would be beneficial to those that may need to use it. So when the calls are coming in, again, when they're coming into our system, what's going to happen is you will always talk to a police call taker first. When you talk to the police call taker first, they will determine if you need to speak to someone else. If you do, we have to transfer you. If you need fire for an EMS, for a paramedic, or something is on fire, we have to transfer you to the fire call takers. The fire call taker will then have to ask you questions. So it's not the same person asking you the questions when we transfer you to the fire call taker. If this is something where you just needed the police report, our police call taker can transfer you to the alternate response section. It's staffed with sworn police officers, and they make those same police reports that you would get in person. You would get on the telephone with that officer. And this is kind of, I'm sorry that this kind of messed up this way, but this is kind of how it works. It comes into the police call taker, and then from there, after you make your 911 call, they can determine where it needs to go, be it the fire call taker or ARS or 311. If we need to transfer you to 311, we absolutely can. So one of the things is there isn't a delay of dispatch when you're calling 911 and we're asking you all those questions. There isn't a delay because the 911 call comes in, our police call taker can then get the information that they need to create the call for service, and it goes to the dispatcher. The dispatcher can begin reading that information out to the officers in real time. And so the officers will continue to get updated as the 911 call taker updates the event. The dispatcher sees the update and we'll give that information out to the officers. So there's no delay of dispatch when we're giving that information out. Now, if this is something in which you might need what we call a CIT officer, because we now have these crisis intervention team trained officers to be able to respond to situations where there may be mental health issues. They have a special set of skills that aid in de-escalation inside of these situations, because we don't have to go about it the same way as we normally do. But if you have to let us know that you would like a CIT officer, tell us. Our call taker does have a list of triage questions that they must ask you, but let us know that you want one, so we'll go ahead and ask you those questions, just because this is good information for the officers to have. So if you all have any questions, comments, or concerns about this first part, I'm gonna let Andrew go, and I'm gonna monitor. I'll go ahead and look at the questions and answers, and then we can circle back and make sure we get all of those other questions that might be answered, because the Smart 911 part is about to come up. Are you ready? Here it comes. There it is. Andrew, are you ready? I know.
Thanks.
He just got ready. Okay.
If you wouldn't mind clicking, because my laptop.
I will
Yeah.
totally click.
Appreciate it. So I'm
Yeah,
Andrew
great
Johnson.
presentation, Beverly. Thank you. Great presentation.
Thank you.
We do have a couple questions, Beverly. Do you want me to get to them, or do you want me to wait till Andrew's finished?
Well, here, let me see.
About
Okay,
the Riverwalk and
the Riverwalk. Wait, I can hold on. Which is the question? I'm not here. I'm seeing it.
I'm sorry, you can see it or no?
I can see it. Okay, so there is a question here. He had an occasion, they have to call 911 frequently. 9 times out of 10, the call taker would press me to identify the person as Black, white, or Hispanic. Is that going to change? That is part of our descriptions that we will ask for. This isn't something that if the person is Black, white, or Hispanic, this is again so that we can identify, it goes into describing the person. You can tell us, well, I believe that they're light complected. I'm not sure of their race, but they're light complected or they're dark complected or the complexion is medium, right? But this again goes into just a description, because for us, we're looking for physical description so we know what it is we're looking for. That probably will not change. It is kind of how we do our descriptions between OEMC and CPD. So that will probably continue. The signs might be helpful on the Riverwalk. We can put it out to see if that could happen. I'm not sure when that can happen or even the process of getting that installed. I can definitely ask someone about that. But as we do update with permanent pole markings, because they have updated it throughout the city, like it was just in small parts of the downtown area. Then it expanded to the entire Lakeshore Drive. So if you're ever on Lakeshore Drive, just look up, because there's a permanent pole marking all along Lakeshore Drive, from the north all the way the north end to all the way the south end. And
so yeah, speaking of Lakeshore Drive, Beverly, we do get a lot of calls in our office, and I know people do call 911 about noise. So what is the best way for them to report noise?
To just call 911. Are they calling about the noise because people are making noise outside?
It could be noise from late night coming out of bars. It could be motorcycle noise. It could be, a variety of different things. So if they call 911, the operators will take the call seriously. Is that correct?
Yeah. So you can always call 911 if you have a noise complaint. We just need a location of it, a description of what it is you see or you hear, so that we know who we're where we're sending the officers to. But yeah, we've gotten it where people are calling because they're leaving the bars and they're making a lot of noise. We've gotten those calls for sure. Okay, let me see if there are other questions. Hold on, I'm trying to get to it.
There should just be one at the bottom about the partnership.
My screen. I don't know where my mouse.
I don't know if that's for you.
Can you? It won't go to the. Can you read that one? Because I don't know what my mouse is. Hold on 1 second. Because I think I just went through something on my other screen. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Do you see the other? Do you see it? The other question?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, let's just move on right now, because we're running out of time, and we can get back to that. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Andrew.
No problem.
Only because my computer is really acting up right now. Can we go to this one here? You'll do the introduction and then get to this screen right here.
Oh no, that's fine. That's fine. Quick answer for the Riverwalk pole markings though, because I have been present at those meetings. The issue right now is they're trying to figure out how to properly mount for the entire Riverwalk. Some spots are not like all the others, so they want it to look pretty, obviously. and then funding, of course, because where they have to build up, there is an expense involved. So they know about it, they're thinking about it, they're just trying to iron out the details. Okay, so Andrew Johnson, that's me. I've been with OEMC for approaching 7 years now. Here to talk about Smart 911. What this is, the little one sentence summary, it's like Facebook, but just for 911. And 8-ish years ago, a company called Rave kicked this off in Michigan. It's statewide there. It's in 22 plus states at this point, either statewide or big areas. 2018, Chicago purchased the license to use it. And since then, the rest of Cook County, all the collars, and then the collars counties have purchased it as well. What does that mean for you? So it travels. It's not like you have to just be in Chicago to use it. If you go to another country or not another country, sorry, another state, and that either state or county uses it, they're going to see this profile. What is it I'm talking about? So you either go on the website, it's just smart911.com, and or you can download the app to your smartphone, and iPhone and Android both have it. You jump in there. The only thing you need to get in is a password, phone number, address, and I think like maybe first and last name, not much. That hasn't changed much since the inception. What has changed is what you can do once you get in. So you build this profile, and once you get your registration out of the way, you have the freedom to decide how much or how little you put in there. We only see it when you call. It's only open for 30 minutes, and that's in case a dispatcher needs info that might have been missed by a call taker, after which it closes. If our call taker gets up to go on break, lunch, end of shift, bathroom, whatever, they sign off. It auto closes everything, even if the call was 2 minutes old. We can't punch it up 3 weeks later. So that's it. If you didn't call us, I cannot look at something on your profile. The way it'll work is whatever you decide to populate with pops on our screen. Bev said if you need fire and ambulance, we have to transfer. They will then also get it populated because it was connected with our linked events. And we're going to talk about like what you can actually pack in this stuff. So info about you, family, and what's in your house. So you can list any medications you're taking. You can list your emergency contacts, maybe you're hard of hearing and you have to go to text messaging. This program gives us the ability for that. We might have a situation where a kid is hiding under the bed scared. We've done those too. We have a flag for domestic victims, and we have had some situations where they were speaking kind of oddly, and with our training we said, hold on a second, can you text? They said yes. So we went to that. The offender was sitting on the other end of the couch. We went, no lights, no sirens, knocked on the door, yanked the offender out. Happy ending. So other things you can throw in there, information about your children. Then do they wander? If they wander, do they have favorite parks? Maybe a favorite friend's house. What's the address to that? You can do pictures for the kids. We're waiting on an update to send those photos to the police laptops in the car. I don't have an ETA for that, but this way it beats having a car get to you to take a picture of whatever recent photo you have and then texting the other officers in the district to drive around looking. You can also put in any mental health or physical disabilities, any triggers on there, for example, autism. They don't like the lights or the sirens. It's good for us when we're rolling up. You can put your pet stuff in there. So you have the world's sweetest pit bull or the world's most demonic chihuahua. We would love to know what's waiting for us on the other side of the door. You can put a floor layout. So if there's a fire, the firemen know where the bedrooms are, which is a great place to start looking for people in the family. We know where utility shutoffs are if you're comfortable sharing that as well. I did mention emergency contacts, and good chunk of info we push, and I kind of save it at the end of the list, is your car info. Carjacking is getting big. It's been big. It's staying big. And me as a dispatcher, I know my plate number. Bev, I'm sure, knows her plate number. But me specifically, if I come out of Jewel and my car has been stolen, or if I'm driving and someone yanks me out, drives off, guess who just forgot his plate? So I'm calling 911 with shaky hands, and I don't know. Well, I have it on my profile, so all I have to do is shout out, "It's the Chevy," and they say, "Okay, this is the plate," and I go, "Yeah, the gray one." And now, if we didn't have that, I have an officer sent to me. My plate is not on my insurance card, so I have to sound X my name. If I'm lucky, we get the attachment on there. Then I get the plate. Then the dispatcher can read it out over the air. And you can see how much time we've just wasted. Versus if I have it at the call, as I'm sending a paper car to you, all of the other cars in the district already know the make, model, and plate, and they can be looking for it while you're getting the service headed towards you. So it saves us a lot of time. I don't have statistics for, if we did it this way, how often do we recover a car, or how quicker or how much more quickly that's done. I don't, but we do save time in at least doing what we call a flash. So everybody hears at one time what's going on. I mentioned that Chicago had purchased this program. So it's on a secure server, looking at the slide deck here. So there haven't been breaches in quite some time. It's got the government rated security for the encryption on there. The company cannot even look at your profile. The most they can do is give you a link to reset your password. Because they already got their check from Chicago, they do not sell your information. They do not try and sell you additional services. They will bug you twice per year. Every 6 months, you pick, is it a text and or email? And they say, "Hey, is everything yours? This is still accurate." You're going to see basically what we're looking at now. So you'll open up your thing and go, "Yeah, that's me. It's all good." You say yes, and they say, "Cool. We're going to see you in 6 months." And then you'll never hear from them for another 6 months. She's got a sample up for me. So this is how you're going to see it on your end to fill it out. If you're not comfortable sharing something, then you don't. It's as easy as that. Some people don't want their medications. Hey, that's cool. But they'll set up their elderly independent living folks in their family, and they do list them because it's a lot faster than chasing the AM and PM pile in 2 different locations. The paramedics already know. When you see this profile page, because of what we're talking with CERT and all that, there are some questions about like generators and food stores. That is part of the Smart 911. It's more for like the country, rural areas. So if there is a tornado and they have these profiles, they can see, okay, well, you can survive because you have 4 days of water and food, and this other person only has 1 day of water and food. You guys live in the city, so do you really have to fill it out? No, because we have the resources that if there's a disaster, we're probably going to get you in a couple of hours max. The texting in the red print. So this program has enabled us to text. Like I said earlier, we still cannot have you text us first. I don't know if or when that's coming, but this one allows us to say, "Hey, are you able to text? Because I don't think you can hear me, or I don't think you're in a position to talk on the phone." So we can still do that. It is the SMS message, and if we disconnect, you get a catch-all that says, "Hey, I've disconnected. If you need help, just call us back again." So home surveillance, we have a new thing on here. If you have the Neighbors app, the way it works is you can have the police access your cameras with your permission. The only reason they would connect through here is because you decided to opt in. The police cannot just jump on your camera. You need to, 1, give them permission, and 2, there's like a little waiver form saying that they can't access it otherwise. So CPD doesn't care if Amazon's dropping off a package, but they might prompt if, hey, there was, somebody hit by a car and unfortunately they passed from the injury. So we're touring the neighborhood to see, maybe they have video of the car speeding off. Can we at least get a description of the driver and go from there? So they may prompt you folks for information like that. That's how that's structured. That's the main screen right there. So those white boxes, that's all you need to just open an account. That's it. And then again, when you get in, however much or however little you are comfortable sharing with us, knock yourself out. You can also change. It's not that you have to wait 6 months. So tomorrow I can get a new medication and put it in there. And then a week later, it's an antibiotic or something, I don't know. and I'm no longer taking it, then I can yank it off the profile. So it can change on a dime as well. I believe I have hit all the points. The app, yes, there's the picture. So a green square with a white lock on it is the app icon for both Android and iOS. Otherwise, the website is smart911.com. Again, totally free. We only see it when you call, and nobody's selling or buying products because everybody got their check already. So check it out. I'm hanging out on the call. Bev's still here, and we'll just be around for questions. Thank you.
All right, there we go. So if there were other, this is much easier now to go on this screen. So somebody did ask a question regarding being in the 24th district, Rogers Park, the partnership with CIT. And this is something that we've been working with throughout the entire city. There is another element to CIT that is happening, but that's currently right now in the 6th and 19th district, which is the CARE program. But CIT in general, because I've actually done a couple of webinars with different community agencies, mental health community agencies throughout the city, just so that they make sure that they have the information that we're looking for when it comes to a call for service that has a CIT component, and that they understand the questions that our call takers have to ask them, information that we're looking for whenever a call for a CIT. But yes, we've been working with this and it's back open now. So there are more people getting certified for CIT to be certified as a CIT officer as well. Okay. I think that was all the questions.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we did get every question and we're right at our end time. I don't know if Alderman, I know he had to take a call right now. Alderman, are you around to jump back on?
Yeah, I'm still on. Outstanding presentation. I thought I knew a lot. I didn't. I learned a lot today, and I hope our guests feel as well. This was extraordinarily helpful and useful, and frankly, a little bit reassuring, in the times we live in. We live in unpredictable times, and bad things can happen with no warning. And just to know that there's, well-trained people, men and women, who are dedicated to our safety. I'll sleep a little bit better tonight, and I hope you guys will too. So thank you so much for this very informative presentation. And I think I'm actually going to look at my schedule and see if I can participate in the CERT training in June, because I think it's a useful exercise, and I'd like to learn more. So thank you very much. Hope you guys got as much out of it as I did.
Thank you. Thank you, Beverly. Thank you, Sergeant Shank. Thank you, Rich, Andrew, and Veronica. We appreciate all our constituents, their time tonight spending with Alderman Hopkins. This was the 4th of our safety seminar series, and look for more to come. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.